Every great car has a story, though some stories stretch across oceans. This is one of them. A story of passion, loss, reinvention, and the kind of vision that turns a quiet Irish workshop into an American icon. This is the journey from the TMC Costin to the Panoz Roadster.
Before we get started, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the algo find and share our message. If you'd like to keep up to date with everything light and fast, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's free, so you'll get to stay up to date with all our videos, live streams, shop tours, and documentaries. Now back to the video.
The Thompson family of County Wexford, Ireland, had a rich agricultural heritage, with 6 sons who eventually ventured into various professions. Among them, Peter Thompson pursued a career in engineering, joining the Timony Research Centre. 2 of his brothers, Val and Sean, also joined Timony, with Val working as a financial controller and Sean as a design technician. In March of 1983, they, along with a 4th sibling, Anthony, established the Thompson Manufacturing Company, TMC, to build cars. Peter Thompson sought the expertise of Frank Costin, a renowned engineer and aerodynamicist, to design their debut car. Costin's responsibilities included designing the car, as well as creating the tooling and jigs necessary for its production. In return, he would receive a 10% royalty on each car sold. The result of this collaboration was the TMC Costin, a car envisioned as an evolution of the iconic Lotus 7. It earned the moniker the Irish 7 and became Ireland's first road racing car. Lightweight, aerodynamic, and engineered with a minimalist ethos, the car blended racing principles with road-going spirit. But as is often the case in the world of low-volume sports cars, passion isn't always enough to keep the lights on. For TMC, the end came suddenly. In the wake of the DeLorean financial scandal, investor confidence across Ireland was shaken. Within just 24 hours, financing for TMC was cancelled. The factory went dark. The lights went out. It was an abrupt end to a promising project.
Because what really killed it for us here in Ireland was when the DeLorean scandal hit.
Okay? Oh my God!
Because up to that point, we pretty much considered all the cars we built at this stage were prototypes, okay, and design developments, and we're making each one better and better and better. And I have to say, the last 5-6 cars that we built were pretty damn good, you know.
Yeah.
And a testament is to some of them that are still out there that look really
still
good,
doing
you know,
very well on the
exactly,
track.
you know.
Yeah.
Exactly, you know, and for the project to continue, you know, we needed to have a big investment in funds, you know, and here in Ireland at the time there's still a company called the IDA, the Irish Development Authority. Mm-hmm. And so we pitched to them a proposal to expand and whatever, you know, and like back in those days in '86, I think it was, that it was like in excess of $1 million. I can't remember currency punts it was at that time, you know, and they gave us approval for the funds, okay, mm-hmm. But we had to supplement it with, I think, 10% that we had to, as a group, put in personally to top off what the government were going to put into the project.
Yeah.
And at this time is when DeLorean scandal hits.
Wow.
All phones were cut off, all communication with the government, everybody, banks, stopped overnight.
But not all was lost, because someone, far from the turbulence of Ireland, was already watching with interest. Enter Danny Panoz, the son of pharmaceutical magnate Don Panoz. Danny had a vision of his own, to start a sports car company in the United States. When he learned of the TMC Costin, he saw not just a car, but a platform, an opportunity to launch something new. Panoz acquired the rights, the tooling, and the know-how. And in a move that would set the tone for everything to follow, he didn't just take the car. He hired the talent, Among those hired was TMC's own Sean Thompson. With his deep understanding of the Costin's DNA, Sean became a key figure in the birth of what would soon be known as the Panoz Roadster.
The final nail for it that obviously had a knock-on effect to us, and at the same time, then obviously Danny Panoz was here in Ireland, getting involved because his wife is from Galway, Danny's wife Melanie and stuff, and he was a bit of a he's a funny character. I mean, I liked him, don't get me wrong, but he was more of he's a bit like Billy, a huge enthusiastic fan, and rather than he knew nothing about making. He didn't have two hands to cut a piece of tubing or anything, and but we built I copied all the drawings and files and chassis and stuff, and then I went out to Georgia for about 4 months out there, and I did some changes to suspension geometry to use the uprights that they wanted to use, which wasn't so difficult. And then I helped to move.
Did they go all Ford components? I know I think one of the first things they did was shoehorn a big 5-litre V8 in, which then they dropped it down to the 4.6. But that must have taken quite a bit of chassis redesigning to squeeze one of them in.
Not too much, mainly at the bottom of the chassis, a few things had been moved, but the gearbox, the manual gearbox at the time was actually even slimmer than the one we were using, so therefore I could move tubes around and actually gain some stiffness back in around the gearbox area because the gearbox was smaller.
The frame was re-engineered, the suspension was revised. A big, rumbling Ford V8 replaced the lightweight 4-cylinder. This wasn't just a rebranded Irish car. It was something new, something bold, something American. In 1996, the Panoz Roadster debuted. With its exposed aluminum bodywork, front-engine rear-drive layout, and thunderous V8, it stood apart from anything on American roads. It was raw, loud, proudly unrefined. And yet, underneath, the DNA of the Costin still lingered. The balance, the responsiveness, the purity of the driving experience. From the hills of Georgia to the circuits of IMSA, Panoz began carving its own legacy. But it all started with a workshop in Ireland and the dedication of people like Sean Thompson.
Thanks for watching, and if you own one of these cars or were part of this story, please drop us a line in the comments. We'd love to hear your chapter of the journey.